Okay, so today's job, I've got blinds that I can't access because I made the wonderful decision to shove a dirty great desk in front of things. I can reach these, but it's difficult. So I think I might make them electric. So I've got some ideas, but let's have a look at the other one as well. The other ones are accessible only by reaching over my printer and my 3D printing area, which is a little condensed, so that's difficult to get to. So again, I think we'll make them electric. Okay, I apologise for the background noise here. The RAF are doing training overhead. I have a whole bunch of these motors with rather hefty magnets, as you've probably guessed by the way they're all sticking together in here in a big chain. I'm going to try and use a couple of these to drive the blind cords or blind chains. So I've already played with these before. I know about the stats. So I guess the next thing we've got to do is go and measure up the ball chain and get some specs on that, so I can make a drive cog. And then the decision will be whether or not I make this a belt drive or a gear drive. Either way, I'm probably going to have to add some kind of a clutch. Although it probably won't be too much of a problem, because if I drive these too far, the blind just flips over the top and keeps making a hell of a racket. So we probably won't need a clutch, actually. So yeah, this could be a simple project. Let's go do some measuring. After that montage, it's time to go out to the workshop and fire up everything and get ourselves happening. We're going to laser cut some stuff with that big monster over there. Some parts. I noticed two of them I had to cut down. There were a couple of lines, or two lines in fact, I forgot to draw in. So we've got some assembly to do and a sprinkling of little tiny parts as well. First of all, I need to see if that fits the ball chain as I had intended, and then we've got to glue some guides and stuff together. The other thing I want to make sure that went as planned is that these gears mesh properly. They don't when they're up close, but at a distance, somewhere about where I set them, they should probably mesh. But anyway, let's hope that there's enough to reduce the speed. Now, the way this will go is there'll be a ring gear on the outside here, or not a ring gear, but a gear on the outside. This will go on the inside, and then this will layer in like that, and that should construct a pulley. I'm not sure if I'll have to pack these out or not. We'll see if they fit the chain. I hope they do. Okay, so off camera I just went and checked. This fits the chain beautifully. However, the chain is a little wider than 3mm, which I should have known. It means I'll have to cut another one of these, but that's okay. We'll get the rest done first. Okay, the next step was to check that these would push onto the shaft nicely, and I think I've got the measurements just right. They've pushed through well and onto the splined section. The reason I've cut so many spares is for tolerance sake I might end up needing to insert 2 of these, but we'll see how we go. The next step before I go too much further is to see how this will behave. I'm going to run this motor off 5 volts to start with and see how it goes, except we're going to have to position everything a little better. I'm going to have to hold this in place while we do this. That looks pretty good. Let's go up to 9 volts and see if it self-destructs. That looks alright. Let's move up to 12 volts. It could end up being a little fast, so I might have to put a motor speed controller on this, but that was a consideration in the first place. But it looks like the gears are going to drive okay. A little bit of graphite and they'll probably lubricate up well. Alright, that's good news. Alright, now we've got the fun part. Getting the super glue container open and hopefully not gluing my fingers together or anything else to the desk this time. Super glue, as you know or may not know, is best used in moderation. But when it comes to MDF, it seems to do a pretty decent job. And the next question I'm going to have is, can I do this? My apprentice is excited in the background there. The next question will be, can I do this and still get these lined up properly? This requires a bit of dexterity, which I'm not great with right now. Alright, they look like they may have gone together okay. Alright, I've got everything glued together and assembled. I've got a couple of washers behind and a stack in front, and our back plate should fit over all of this, but of course we'll have to thread the chain through first, and this is going to be a tricky assembly. I'm not quite sure how we're going to do this. I may even attach the back plate first and then go ahead and put the gears on. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to do this bit. I haven't thought of really too much about how I'm going to mount it to the wall, other than I might use this plate and an extra offset. So yeah. Okay, we've got everything test assembled here and it all runs well. We have a little bit of graphite over here, and I'm going to add for lubrication once we've got everything mostly assembled. You can see I've packed out a bunch of washers here, and there'll be some packed behind it. We'll have a back plate to go on to position everything, and then we'll have maybe this one or maybe this one, depending on how we're going to attach that to the original surface. I'm not quite sure yet. I need to test if this will actually drive the chain. That's going to be a little tricky, but yeah, we'll see what we can do. Okay, so I went and test assembled this and used the lounge room blinds instead of the office blinds, and I discovered a fundamental problem. Whilst everything else works quite well in this, the motor just simply doesn't have enough torque, not at this ratio. And the torque ratio is just way too low to pull the volume on the cord I need. So I'm going to have to add some extra gear ratios into this. But unfortunately I don't have the time to do that right now. I'm going to have to hang around, or maybe I might even have to find myself either a bigger motor or maybe even a stepper motor. But at the moment, well, functionally this works In principle, doesn't, well, I say functionally works in principle, I should say it doesn't work in practice. So yeah, I'm going to have to do some thinking. I've got to go back to the drawing board for this one. You might see more about this very soon. Alright, well, I keep trying to make good use of these motors, and I just don't seem to be succeeding. This would work, I just need a little bit more torque or a bit more gearing. And that means rebuilding the whole thing from scratch, and at the moment that's less convenient than actually just reaching through and pulling my blinds up a couple of times a week. So yeah, I might shelve this one for now, and we'll revisit that in another video. Sorry to call this a failure, guys, but not all of my projects work out, so I thought I'd start documenting some of the ones that don't, and that's what's happening. But I can show you a quick sneak peek at some of the stuff that is going on at the moment, and that's this thing. This, we can pop the screen up here. I haven't got it plugged in and running yet. Beneath this, and you may have seen in a different video, is a Raspberry Pi 0W hidden in there. And underneath, I've also added a real-time clock, 5-volt regulator, and pretty soon there's a GPS going in this, as well as a Geiger counter. Now this one's going to be an interesting little survey job, but this is probably going to be an hour-long video by the time I'm done, or even more. There is so much development I've had to do for this, and there's still so much to go. And then there'll be a video of probably the survey, which may or may not, I don't know if I get permission yet, involve a military base. So, and maybe some fallout from Maralinga. Don't know yet, but yeah, definitely on the go. I've got the Geiger tubes and everything, I'm waiting on parts. So that's a video for the future. It's a bit of a sneak peek. But it's a big doozy one, and it's costing money and time and effort, and it's taking quite a while. I have to have it done by the end of this year, before December, because I'm going to lose access to the area that I want to survey. So yeah, anyway, hopefully there'll be something more interesting to see in the near future. But look, thanks for sticking with it.